Welcome to another Sideline Sports Show. It's Tuesday night. My fellow Americans, I'm going to start out as if I was a politician. My fellow Americans, over the last 3 or so weeks, you have started to watch soccer, and we're all talking about it. Everyone's talking soccer. Guess what? Soccer is the most corrupt game ever. The Iranian team lost how many goals they would have won games. Argentina against Egypt this week. Today, Egypt got beat by some bad refereeing when they went back and reviewed in VAR and took out a goal. Just horrible. And I could go on and on. The bad red card against Balogun, and then the reinstating him, which is not really part of what soccer rules do. We can get into that debate when we talk about that later in the show. But this is soccer. Wait till you watch, Champions League, the Premier League, the Bungalisa. There's so many, different leagues that are really good. This is the way soccer goes. It's a weird sport. There's a lot of corruption, but let's bring John in. John Shear.
All right.
This is a guy that just, doesn't get it to begin with. So,
Well, I mean, I tried telling you the other day that that Americans will fake care about soccer once every 4 years until they're eliminated, and I knew they were going to be eliminated soon. I thought maybe one round further. I thought they were going to beat Belgium. We all thought that, and I was right. Now, except for people like you and James who actually care about soccer. The rest of the people, they're going to stop pretending to care about soccer, and they're going to go back to not caring for another 4 years. I didn't pretend to care at all because I don't care because it's boring. Like, there's nothing good about soccer. You try and make it exciting, JB, but, like football, real football is exciting. One of our guests coming up, like, he knows about football. Football's exciting, but you Jamie, you try and pretend like football, like soccer is this exciting game, but it's really
you got it right. Football. You finally did it right. All right, that's enough of us talking. Jay will be in it a little bit to join us.
Yeah, Jay knows about football.
Yes, Jay's been the first one in our group chats talking about football over the last couple of weeks, beating me and James to the punch. But enough football talk. We're going to talk some MLB draft. We have a special guest, Jonathan Coleman, coming in.
I love MLB.
You graduated from Lemoyne, right? College?
Yes, sir. Lemoyne College in Memphis, Tennessee.
Nice. Now, who? Wait a minute. Before you go on, JB, who do you like in football? Not soccer. Who do you like in football? Like NFL. If you're a NFL guy, who do you like in NFL? I just have to ask. Can you hear me, John?
Oh, yeah. So, for football, I would say, I like the Seahawks. I really like the Seahawks during the Marshawn Lynch era. I guess he's the hometown guy from Oakland, California, from Richmond, California. So Bay Area guy for sure. But I do love the 49ers. I'm probably a little biased because Bay Area again. But yeah, those two teams for sure. And I used to love the Raiders. Going to Raiders games growing up in Oakland. That was really fun for sure.
CJB, he gets it. You don't. You're a Giants fan. You don't understand. You're a soccer fan and a Giants fan and a former Knicks fan. You don't get it.
Well, we're going to talk some baseball, John. Forget about all that other stuff, because this young gentleman, Jonathan Coleman, has an exciting week ahead of him. He's going to be drafted in the MLB draft. So tell us a little bit about your game. So you're an outfielder, center, left field. You tell us about some of your tools, how you're rated, and what the scouts have told you so far.
Definitely. I get a lot of Mookie Betts comparisons. He's a great player. I look up to Mookie. I try to pat on my game after Mookie Betts, for sure, a top-notch player. But with me, you get very fast on the bases, very quick. You get a hard worker, grinder, definitely a team player. For me, I feel like my biggest attribute is, my clutch instinct. We're in the bottom of the ninth. 2 outs, bases loaded, we're down 1 run or we're tied. I'm definitely the type of player that you want at the plate. I mean, I've done it before in college. I've done it twice in college. I hit a walk off last year against Savannah State. That was the first time my school beat Savannah State in school history for baseball because of my walk off. So, I mean, I definitely, clutch player for sure when you get Jonathan Coleman for sure.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your approach to hitting. Are you a patient hitter? Are you trying to, go long? Are you trying to use your speed and just hitting it where the pitcher throws the ball? What's your approach when you're up?
For me, I'll try to keep it as simple as I could be. See ball, hit ball. Think fastball, react to the curveball. If I'm up in the count, just look for that fastball I'm trying to hit, or if it's a curveball, that's hanging and banging, I can bang it. But yeah, I just try to, go for the singles and doubles and steal bases. My teammates hit me over and hit me in. Um, but yeah, I like to do that. If I see runners in scoring position, I know I gotta do what I gotta do at the plate to score them. I did a lot of that this year. Pretty good RBI here. So yeah, for sure.
So now in college, are you guys using a pitch clock?
Yes, 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
So how does that change the approach when you're, coming up to bat, as opposed to, when you're growing up in little league and, in travel bowl where there is no pitch clock? How does that change your mindset?
For me, it doesn't kind of change at all. I would say because I get ready in the box. I look at my third base coach, see if he's giving me a sign. I'm ready to just hit. I'm ready to go rake. I'm ready to smack whatever comes at me. So for me, it kind of doesn't really affect me. Growing up, some kids like to quick pitch and stuff like that. Anyways, so I mean, like it never really kind of changed outside of the clock. But I mean, yeah, it's 20 seconds. I feel like is enough time for me to get comfortable in the box and get ready to go bang for sure.
Nice. John, questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about your like your pregame routine. What is your routine like? What do you do to prepare for the game, whether it's in the field or preparing for coming up to the plate or preparing for running the bases, anything like that? Like, what do you do before a game?
I would say pregame routine is definitely. Um, I would try to say if I had whatever I ate the day before and we played and it was a good game, I'll try for breakfast that next day. Just keep that momentum going. Get to the field, run to center field, say a little prayer in center field. After I say a little prayer, run back, get to stretching, get ready for BP. Sometimes before the games, I like to listen to a little music. I know in college we have the speaker stuff and all that. And so I don't need to play my own music when I'm listening to music at the field. But if I'm listening to my own music, listen to something like that and just get my mind right for the game, have a clear head for sure.
So now in the outfield, do you prefer playing a day game or a night game under the lights?
It honestly depends on what city and what state I'm playing in. I know some areas the sky gets hard to see during the day, and so I would prefer night games in those areas. But and sometimes that it's perfectly fine during the day, and sometimes those lights at that field is kind of dims it kind of blurs everything out, I should say. So honestly, for me, it depends on the area, the state, the city, the specific field, and stuff like that. So I'll say it's 50-50.
That makes sense. What was your favorite
Yeah.
stadium so far that you've gotten to play in, whether it be college or travel bowl, wherever? What was your favorite spot to play?
Travel ball, I would say growing up, I played baseball and football. I went when I was in seventh grade. I went when I was in eighth grade for my travel team. So I would say the Cuban professional field out there. I really loved that field. It was amazing. Cuba was a great experience. It was everything about that experience was really fun. So I definitely went to Cuba for sure.
That's got to be a trip to remember too. Especially at a young
Yeah,
age
yeah.
to see a different culture and a different lifestyle because it's completely different than the states. So that had to be something to take in.
Yeah, definitely. Cuba, I mean, Cuba, blessing to be there just to see how they work and their work ethic and their grind. Um, and just being out there, different environment, different atmosphere, first time in humidity and, just pouring, sweating hot and stuff like that. Just being able to adapt to that atmosphere was really fun for me for sure.
So in we have a lot of experience with NFL draft people. So in MLB, are there teams that are talking to you and your agent this week about what they're thinking about or questioning you? Kind of like you know getting more information and all that this week.
Yes, they've been talking to my agent. My agent's been, responding and corresponding with them. I would say for the past month and a half, 2 months maybe. And so, like I know he said this week, starting today, a lot of phone calls are going to be picking up. A lot of them going to be watching a lot more of my videos and highlights and stuff like that. And then he said he expects a lot of phone calls between Tuesday and Friday, and then the draft starts Saturday and it'll end on Sunday. So he's expecting a lot of phone calls on Sunday.
Now, do they have an idea of what round you're expected to go right now? Is there a projection for that
Um,
currently?
So there's 20 rounds. So right now they're talking about late rounds. So I would say anywhere or late rounds or free agency. So I'd say anywhere between the 17th to the 20th round, maybe. Who knows? Maybe sooner, maybe later. You kind of never know with the draft. But then you have free agent opportunities, which is after the draft. The teams call my agent up and they're like, we didn't draft him, but we have interest in him. We like him. We still want to sign him. We just didn't have him in our draft round. So both of those are a possibility, but it's rounds or free agency for sure.
So now it's interesting. MLB a few years back totally realigned minor league baseball. They cut a lot of minor league teams. But one of the coolest things that I've done in the last maybe 20 years is I've gotten a bunch of really good minor league hats because their logos are cool. They have all sorts of different ones. The Dunedin Blue Jays has like a really sick looking Blue Jay on it with the D rather than the regular Toronto Blue Jay. So hopefully you go to a team that has a cool logo. Because I mean, talking to you, you definitely sound like a
Yeah, for sure.
composed. You definitely seem composed. So I don't see you, sticking around in low A and double A ball very long. I see you moving up pretty quickly because you talk like you're a leader. Do you
Yes, that's
do
definitely the
you
plan for sure. Yes,
do
I
you see
appreciate
yourself
that.
as a leader on your team?
Yes, I definitely see myself as a leader. I mean, these past 2 years, I've been the team captain for my team at Lemoyne in college. Um, we have a couple team captains, but our coach always said I was the captains of the captain. Everyone kind of gravitates. Even since I was young, whether it was baseball or back when I used to play basketball or even just in school, all my friends or a lot of people toward me and kind of listen to what I have to say because I always say things in a respectful manner. I always, try to lead people the right way and, hey, I think we should do it this way. So, I feel like it'd be more efficient like that. So, yeah, I would definitely say I'm a leader for sure. And that, people definitely consider me as a leader.
Now, do you have any relationships with current major league or high minor league players that have kind of helped you as well, or no?
Yeah. So, he's my cousin, but he's really, my best friend. Me and him, do everything together, work out together. He's right now on for the Lansing Lugnuts. His name is Rodney Green. Rodney Green
Oh,
Jr. That's my cousin.
that's cool.
Yes,
And
they
what
play with
position?
the Lansing Lugnuts and he plays outfield as well.
Oh,
Okay.
that's cool. You guys play similar positions.
Yeah.
Now, with
So yeah, we
technology,
work out
just
in there.
so I would say in the course of John's lifetime, because he's younger than I am, the technology in baseball's changed. There's a lot more video being used. You see the iPads in the dugouts now, and guys studying pitchers. And when you compare that to like the NFL film study is huge. It's hours every week. How much video work do you put in a normal week when you're facing a different team?
Me personally, I try not to look too much into that, and I just feel like you're kind of over analyzing things. Sometimes your nerves can get hyped up and stuff like that, and when you kind of overanalyze things, you're expecting something that might not end up happening. So for me, I kind of I may glance at it once, maybe twice, but for the most part, I'm really look into it, pay attention to it, and I just go where how I know how to play baseball. I trust myself. I trust my instincts. I trust what my coaches say for sure. If my coaches say, "Hey, I feel like this," I'll definitely have that in my mind and pay attention to that while I'm playing for sure. But no, I wouldn't say I try to think too much into looking at the videos.
Any other questions, Sean?
Yeah, I was gonna ask like what clubhouse culture means to you.
Clubhouse culture to me means, for me, uh, clubhouse is like it's your brothers. For me, we're not just teammates. We're brothers. We're friends. We're off the field, on the field. Whether it's in the clubhouse, just hanging out. Going to the movies or stuff like that. Like playing basketball outside. Maybe we're supposed to be brothers. So me, I love all my teammates, especially this year. At Lemoyne Owen, I was all of my teammates were very close. We still talk every single day. So yeah, clubhouse, to me, it means everything. Camaraderie and the brotherhood and all that. It means a lot to me.
Well, Jonathan, we definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight. I don't want to put too much pressure on you right now, but I'm going to make this statement.
Nah.
Future MLB
All-star. All-star.
I'm going to say player for now. I know he's going to be an all-star, but right now they take one guy from every team, so it's not that big of an honor.
It's still an accomplishment, JB. Don't knock
it.
Like you go to the All-Star.
No, I definitely appreciate that for sure. And it's a blessing to be on this podcast, and it's definitely a blessing to have my dreams coming true. That's something I've been working hard since I was 5 years old for sure.
We look forward to hearing your name in the draft. We look forward to hearing Jonathan Coleman called.
Yes, and we definitely wish you the
most
best
definitely.
of luck.
I appreciate.
And we're going to follow along
Thank
with your
you
story.
So much.
You're quite welcome. Best of
you're
luck in your journey.
Yes, and you're welcome back anytime.
For sure.
As you progress through the ranks of minor league baseball, getting up to the MLB, you're welcome to come on anytime you want.
Most definitely. I appreciate it. I would love to come back for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. You have a great night. Guys, that's Jonathan Coleman, future MLB draft pick, future MLB player. Follow along for his journey. Outfielder out of Lemoyne. Looks like he's going to be a really good player for somebody. I know which team I hope gets him, but they don't do things the right way like they used to since the father has gone. But let's bring in our other guy. He's just getting called the other guy tonight.
The other guy, yeah. He's either Will Ferrell or he's Mark Wahlberg. I'm not sure which one he is. He's another guy.
He is pretty goofy, so I'm gonna have to go with Will Ferrell.
He's a peacock. You gotta unmute your thing, Jay, and we gotta let you fly.
There we go. There are my wings. Yeah, I'm probably closer to Will Ferrell than the guys you just mentioned, so I'll take Will. Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I'm probably closer to Will Ferrell.
You never saw Other Guys?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say you sounded a little confused. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. We're stopping the show right now. You're gonna go watch The Other Guys, and then we'll come back and continue it if that was the case.
Hey, look, no. But you have to go and watch the other 3 bad boys that you obviously missed over the years.
You know what I haven't seen? I was thinking about it. I never saw any of the Equalizer movies with Denzel. I never saw
Really?
Yeah, you got to make that a weekend, man. You got to make that a weekend.
Yep.
most definitely.
I always wanted to, but I never got around to it.
All right, let's get to quick hits.
Well, all right. Well, number one,
wide receiver Brandon Ayuk is killing his chances of ever seeing an NFL field again. Jay, let's start with you, the other guy.
the NFL's funny, right? Because just when you think that someone is ruining their chances of ever playing for another team again, here comes a Jerry Jones. Or the Patriots. Or the Jets.
Well, I mean, you're still killing your chances of, you're killing your chances by going to the Jets. It's not really much better than not playing.
Yeah, not really much better. I mean, so my heart wants to say yes, but my head is actually saying he's going to see the field. It may not be this season, but someone's going to pick him up. Someone's going to have a shortage at receiver and look for a bridge, a stopgap between him and the guy that they're going to draft the next year. The NFL, they thrive on drama, okay? They don't care. As long as the guy can still play, someone's going to pick him up.
John, so what's your thoughts on Brandon Ayuk?
I mean, first of all, he was overrated. He had really one big year for the most part. That was about it in his career. He got paid off of that huge year, and he hasn't done anything since. He got hurt, and then it's been this drama. I always thought he was overrated. I've always felt that way about him. He had 1 year, and he's lived off of that year. And he's a smaller receiver. Not that smaller receivers can't succeed, but when you're asking the money you have, and then you have the drama you have, at least AB is an all-time great receiver.
Wow.
So you can put up with AB doing this stuff because AB is one of the best receivers to ever play the game, pound for pound, one of the best ever. He's like Steve Smith. He's one of the best receivers to ever grace the field. So, you're willing to put up with it when he goes to Tampa, you know what I mean? When he goes to Tampa and you win a Super Bowl there, you're willing to put up with that if you're Tom Brady. And you had Tom Brady. So, he is that, hey, you're going to fall in line or your ass is out of here and you have no shot at winning a Super Bowl. Where else in the NFL do you have that Tom Brady style guy where you can bring him there and you're like, all right, I'm going to make you fall in line, Brandon Ayuk. No, you don't have that cachet of AB. You don't have a Tom Brady to keep him in line. And he's already beefing with Jaden Daniels, who he was begging to go play with. Now he's beefing with him. I don't think he ever sees a field. And I think you're wrong, Jay, about saying, well, this NFL, they don't care. They do care. When they want to blackball you, when you're creating problems, they will blackball you. We've seen it before. And I think that Brandon Ayuk is close to being one of those guys where, hey, whisper, whisper, none of these 32 owners, don't touch him. I think it's close to that if he doesn't shut his mouth and just let somebody get interested in him. Because the more he talks, the more he posts video, JB, the more people are going to be like, I'm good.
Have you not seen the Cleveland Browns? Have you not seen these guys throughout the NFL that just keep resurfacing all over? There's 32 teams.
I mean, the reason that the Browns went and got Deshaun Watson is because he was a top 5 quarterback in Houston.
John, hang on. Let me finish my thought process.
All right.
They know what Brandon Ayuk could bring to the table. Nobody has imagination anymore, and nobody scouts anymore because there are guys that play Division III and Division II football and lower Division I, not on the Power 4 conferences, that can play wide receiver. But the scouts don't scout. They look at Alabama, Notre Dame, Indiana now, Ohio State, easy fixes. And Brandon Ayuk's an easy fix because you have his tape. They don't want to look outside the box. So if he, eventually shuts his mouth and does what he needs to do, he'll be able to play again. Would I want him on my team? Absolutely not. There's something wrong with that guy.
Yeah.
I don't get what he's doing. I don't know what he's trying to do, but it's just a shame.
I mean, I'm sorry. And one more thing, John. I mean, as far as people's getting a second chance, and it's funny because 2 of the teams I just mentioned, I said the Cowboys, Pats, and Jets. Well, 2 of them, don't forget, Dante Stallworth exists. Greg Hardy exists. They got second chances. And Stallworth unalived somebody. So there's that.
it's insane, and I hate watching people derail their career because there are probably 100 million men in this country that would give to be in his position and to be able to play professional football. Now
Right.
that doesn't mean that they could or they're talented enough. I'm not making that comparison. I'm just saying that there are people that wish that they had that opportunity and got to that point and would bust their ass each and every day. And we're talking about a lot of money, millions of dollars. It's it's just bad. All right,
Mhm.
number 2. Broncos head coach Sean Payton proposed hiring Bill Belichick in 2024 just so Bill can break the all-time wins record. Crazy, absurd, smart. I saw this today. Hey, John, I'll let you
I
start
could
with
tell
this
by
one.
the read. I was like, he read this one. He read this one.
I saw this today, and I got some stuff
I
to
heard
say,
it
but I'll let
today.
John
I was
start.
not happy. So what so Sean Payton, does he have something against Don Shula? Like is that it? Because like what
Oh,
so what does this say to your
John's using his Miami angle here.
well, I mean, Don
Boo.
Shula's the winningest coach in NFL history, and you're trying to stat pad Bill Belichick so he can get to the wins record. Like, what does this say about the players? What would your owner think if you actually proposed it, which he never actually did? Apparently, he just it was something that he came up with. But what does it say to your players? Like, or what happens if you're 1-8? What happens? Who gets fired? Do you both keep your job? Is the owner going to keep paying 2 of you to have this little game? Like, who do you listen to? Because Sean Payton's the coach, but if he's stepping back and Bill Belichick's there and there's a struggle, like, who are the players listening to? Bill or Sean Payton? Like, this is a terrible idea. Like, I have lost all respect for Sean Payton that I may have had beforehand because, like, you're an NFL coach and you're toying around with trying to manipulate the wins record for Bill Belichick. Like, what does that have to do with you, Sean Payton, or the Broncos? That makes absolutely no sense. I think Sean Payton. We've seen him have issues with Bo Nix recently. We've seen him have issues on the Broncos, and this just speaks it. We saw him have issues, with everything in New Orleans. It just shows Sean Payton's character. A
So,
slimy, scummy guy. We've seen it
so,
everywhere he's gone.
so really simple.
No respect for the game.
I like my coaches to be alphas. They need to lead. You can't lead and say, you know what, I'm going to let that guy come in and get 15 wins, and then I'll go back to taking my job back.
Yeah,
No,
that
you
doesn't make
won't.
sense.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Second of all, without Brady, Bill Belichick was an average coach. Anyone that disagrees, go look at the records of him without Brady. Now, as a defensive coordinator, one of the best ever. But as a head coach, average without Tom Brady. And I'm not a Tom Brady fan. So for me to point that out, I like Bill Belichick more than I like Tom Brady. And without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick is average. But how in the world could you say, I'm the head coach of the Denver Broncos. I'm going to step aside and be an assistant until Bill Belichick gets 15 wins. I don't care if, whoever has the coaching record. I mean, obviously it's Don Shula, who's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
The best. Yeah.
But that's just disgusting. Bill Belichick can get an NFL job on his own, and if he can't, that's on the league. Granted, he's just average. Unless Tom Brady's coming back to play at 40-something, I don't want Bill Belichick as a head coach, and I don't see why that would benefit the Broncos. Jay, what's your thoughts?
I would like to think that I'm going to go on a limb here and say that this was actually discussed beforehand, seeing as that both men come from the Bill Parcells coaching tree, so they obviously have a long history. However, I'm in agreement with y'all. I mean, it just sounds petty. Like, even if Bill was so good with it, I don't know, maybe he's in a stage of his life where it's like, you know what? I've been to the Super Bowls. I've won the Super Bowl. Head out somewhere, But with that being said, it is crazy to demote yourself to assistant coach he gets the record, then you remove him and promote yourself back to head coach. Yeah, that's wild. It's like, what about the season? I mean, I get it. The players got to play and everything like that. But it's like, what about the season? I thought the goal of the season was to go out there and have a good season, make the playoffs, maybe win the Super Bowl, not get one head coach a record.
The goal is to win the Super Bowl. Any other goal is not a goal.
Yeah,
you know, there's only going to be one team that does it, so there's going to be 31 failures. It sucks. And once you've proven that you failed, it doesn't really matter anymore at that point of the year. I mean, you're going to play to win because that's what athletes do. But
I get it. The goal is to win the Super Bowl. But if you're a team like the New York Jets, you know, it's like, well, can we just get 6 wins or something like that? Like, it's a step.
No, I get
what I meant by that is it's a step process with some of these teams. Let's get to 10 wins. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's get to the conference championship game. Let's get to the Super Bowl. Yes, the Super Bowl is the ultimate goal, but you got some dudes that's in the gutter right now, like the Jets, like the Raiders. Is anyone expecting them to make it to LA next year?
Not at all. But they've been
so
in the gutter for so long.
Hold on. I have one more thing to add about Sean Payton. So Sean Payton was the guy on Christmas. Fantasy football owners, listen. Sean Payton was the guy on Christmas years ago that pulled Alvin Kamara out of the game when he was 1 touchdown away from breaking the NFL record. He had 6 on Christmas Day. Remember that? 6 touchdowns.
Yes, monster game.
Who was on the sidelines? Sean Payton. You know who pulled him out of that game? Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
Because he did not want Alvin Kamara to break the record because he said records are not meant to be broken. And what is Sean Payton trying to do with Bill Belichick? Manipulate a record. But you won't let your own guy and Alvin Kamara break the record. You took him out on the goal line for touchdown number 7 on the 1-yard line. You took him out and put in the backup. So Alvin Kamara couldn't have it.
Yeah, that was insane.
That record's been standing too long. I can't let you have it, and you took him out. But yeah, you're going to do that for Bill Belichick, but not your own guy?
Yeah, that's wild word.
It just don't make sense to me.
I don't like it. Listen, I have no respect for Sean Payton. He has fallen down the rung of my list of head coaches I respect.
I just really don't want to see him ruin this dynamic between him and Bo Nix. We all know him and Russell Wilson didn't work out, you know. But if problems happen between him and Bo Nix, we know 100% for sure that he's the problem, that he's it. You know, we can't even blame Russell.
I mean, we can't blame already Russell. Have problems, Jay. We've already seen the press conferences about him taking shots at Bo Nix, and then Bo Nix has to fire back. We've already seen that.
Yeah. Listen, he's definitely got a chip on his shoulder. He thinks he's better than he is. You know,
thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, and usually people that think they're the smartest guy in the room are far from it. Yep. You know, but what do I know? All right, number 3. If you could have a video game with your namesake, what kind of game would it be? Jay, you can start with this one since you created this question.
I think I definitely would have like an action shooter game, you know, maybe a third person, probably revolving around, I don't know, maybe I'm a part of some like outlaw motorcycle group and they bust me out of prison. And then we got to go on these runs to get back at the rival group and all of that. I think it'd be great. I'd add in some Michael Bay Die Hard type explosions, you know, like it'd be great, you know, not too complicated of a plot. I would have the features of the game like kind of carry it, you know, like, okay, when this meter builds up, then you can hit this button and he can do this, or your teammate can do that, and so forth. And I would have that in the effects kind of carry it. I mean, I'm not looking to be the next Call of Duty or anything like that. I'd be happy to have my name on something, but I'd have something like that. Definitely an action adventure.
John?
Mine would be the 4 major sports would combine into one sport. They would all have parts of their sport into one, and they would combine into one mesh of a sport. And this would be the John Shear franchise, kind of like the John Madden franchise. But you would have to play all 4 sports at once as one big sport. So that's what the game would be. And this would be I mean, you'd be playing basketball, football, baseball, and hockey all at once in one sport that would be my game, and that would be a lot of fun. I think if somebody could create that, I'm going to ask ChatGPT after this if it can create a sport, what that would look like, and then maybe next week I'll tell you what ChatGPT
That
says.
just
How would
sounds
the
so
But that would be
wild.
the John
how would the
Shear
scoring
franchise.
work? Like,
Huh?
how would the scoring work? Like,
That's between ChatGPT and I, and
what would you
we'll
even
create
call
that
it?
in the
Like,
next week.
Sheer
hot
ball.
basket hot
Sheer
basket
ball.
foot or something.
No,
like
it'd be sheer ball.
sheer ball? Why
Yeah.
not sheer ball? You know,
Yeah,
Hey,
something like
gotta
that.
have
throw
the name on
I
it.
mean,
throw
if
some
you obviously
dodgeball in
have
there
John
too.
Shear in the namesake, you would want the greatest name in history. Well, second greatest name. Jesus is the first name, and then John Shear is the second greatest name. You know, you would have that
Wow.
as the franchise, but that would be kind of cool because then all the sport fans would be happy because we're leaving out soccer. Like, let's face it, soccer's getting
Oh,
left out.
we'll get to your favorite topic here in just a minute.
So I think I would have a role play game where you
Okay.
could go and you could choose the type of business and sports you want to go into. You could be an athlete, you could be an owner, be a reporter, and you would build your career. And you have basically. I always loved the role play games growing up. So you get to choose kind of where you want to go, what you want to do. You could switch if it's not working. If you were an athlete, you want to go into media, accrue money, maybe go into local businesses, buy some, car dealerships, whatever you want to do. Just grow and just see where you end up.
So what would this be called? Like, you're the agent? Is this like Sean Russey's life story, or like, how does this work?
I mean, you could be an agent if you choose that. You'd have to first pick your school, your major, and all sorts of things would happen while you're in college to see how you do. So what kind of job you got offered, and it would just be detailed.
What would be the name of the franchise?
The name of the franchise would be. That's a good question.
Call it Ellis Island. They
Nice.
could all be on an
Why not?
island.
Nice.
Ellis Island.
I like it. The island of America.
America all fell apart except one island. Everybody has to cohabitate on one
Now we're
on Ellis
talking.
Island.
That's great.
All right. I promise you guys next week we will take a commercial break. I don't think Jay loaded the commercial break yet.
Can I add something to that video game question? I've
go
always
ahead.
wanted it. I've always wanted this, and they kind of had it in NFL Street years ago. But I've always said, and obviously they couldn't add real players' names, but have like an NFL game or an NHL or whatever game, but it's rated R. So you could do your My Player, and your My Player could, take steroids. They could commit crimes. They could do drugs. They could be a good person. Like, it's a sports franchise like Madden, but it's rated MA or whatever you want to get. And you could do all the bad things you want. You could, if you want to commit crimes, you want to hit
something.
Your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, beat them up. If you want to
now in development at Sideline Labs
for your game, if you want to be drunk, like that's we should have a game like that.
That's on. Okay, so one of my favorite shows of all time is Playmakers on ESPN. Y'all remember that show?
I mean, of course.
This is the video game version.
Yeah, you need it, and I'm not encouraging that. So I'm just saying, like, I think that'd be fun in a game because, like, look, when we used to play MLB The Show, my friends and I, we made up steroids, right? So we would create our guys, have a franchise together. We all be on the Orioles. Yeah, me and my brother and my friend. So 3 of us. You would get before the season, you would get to take steroids. If you flipped a coin and flipped right, you got a couple stats you got to boost, like your home run +4. If you got it wrong, that means you got caught doing steroids and you had to drop your stats that the other people chose. So, like, that was our version of, like, steroids.
Wow.
Whether you got caught. So I always wanted that in a game, like a Madden type game, because I think that would add, like, so much to the game where, you know what I mean? Like, you really have to take care of your guy and make sure he doesn't get caught, or make sure he eats right, or he's going to get too fat or something. Like, that would be cool.
Now in development at Sideline Labs. All right, guys. Let's talk. Let's talk about the World Cup. I opened up and I spoke to my fellow Americans. And the Nigerian that's watching us. Hello from Nigeria. Jay's enjoying the new laugh
I
track.
love Belgium, by the way. Belgium did us a favor by knocking us out so we could stop. Thank you, Belgium. I'm gonna eat some Belgian waffles. I'm gonna buy some Belgian waffles to support you.
Well, let's talk about that game. So legitimately, the U.S. had no business in that game. They looked horrible, but legitimately, it was 1-1. The U.S. gifted them 3 goals.
3 goals.
Now you're not playing, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really small country that has a
Cape Verde.
Soccer.
Cape
Verde
yeah.
did well,
but they did well though, yeah.
And they would have got smacked by us.
Yeah, I'm not going to use them, but some really small country. I don't know, Azerbaijan
Congo or
Azerbaijan. They're not Azerbaijan. You're not going to just show up and beat them. You have to play your best game. They're ranked 9th in the world, and they have talent. They're older, but they're a good team. You can't give away goals. You can't have a goalie that comes out. And John, think about this.
Oh, that was
think about this as an NHL player, because you would get this.
Yeah.
The goalie comes out to play the puck. In this case, the ball.
Yeah.
The defender comes up. Right, the defender comes up and basically steals the ball from him and shoots it in.
I've seen that a million times in hockey. It's backbreaking.
Yeah. The defender was back there and he missed kicking it away. It was just ugly. That was one of 3
and that's not just a goal, JB. That is a spirit breaker.
Right.
That's like when the Knicks came back from 5 million down versus Spurs. That was the series right there. As soon as they did that to the Spurs, they broke them in half.
I mean, JB, I'm sure you would agree. Tim Howard would have never.
No.
Would have never. You know what? When I was watching it live, I remember I looked down at my phone, and when I looked up, the ball was well on the way to the net. I thought it was an own goal. I thought that the U.S. player had hit it because the goalie was out so far. Then I watched the replay, and I'm like, dude, why are you out? He's on his way to midfield. What are you doing?
Jay, they were frauds, Jay. They were absolute total frauds. There is no way you give 3 goals to another team. The first goal, they couldn't clear the ball. So they ended up getting a steal and they scored. The second one was the goalie that was given away. And the third one, they took the dude overtook the defender and just took the ball like he was taking his lunch money.
Yeah.
Jay, you remember Different Strokes, right?
Yeah.
So he was like the Gooch took Arnold's lunch money.
Yeah. No, that's actually on point. I mean, but the fact that you said that they were frauds, that's funny because earlier I saw a meme and it was Drake May getting sacked in the Super Bowl and it said the U.S. team when they finally play a real team. I said, yeah, and John, we was talking about it. The U.S. team been beating the Raiders and the Jets, and then here came a real team. But the funny part about it is they literally beat themselves. Against a team, you played a real team, and they didn't beat you. You beat yourself.
Yeah. That's the face of your franchise. The U.S. men's national team, face of the franchise, Christian Pulisic. How does he take himself out of that game?
He took himself out?
He got a leg injury. All right, it's a whole game. He was limping noticeably, but not to where I think you couldn't, for moral support, be out there.
It's a World Cup.
You lose, you go home. That's it. It's not
if
the
that
group
was
stage.
Me, I would have had to die on that field to come off that field.
Landon Donovan, U.S. men's national team great, said, "There's no blanking way you would get me off the field in that situation."
Yep.
And nothing but respect for him for saying that. He's not one of my favorite guys. Never has been. I have a lot of guys I don't like. If you're just tuning in for the first time tonight, the list of guys JB doesn't like, it's like this, and they're all superstars. So LeBron, KD, Garrett Cole, and I could go on. But Landon Donovan was like, "There's no way you get me off the pitch," and I agree because never in my life did I ever say coach, take me out. I don't care the situation. I want to
And
make
you
my
don't
team
know if
win.
you're ever going to get back there is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. So like,
Yeah.
you just can't do that to yourself or your teammates.
No, it's horrible. And I look, because now we're at that point where, okay, all of the U.S. watched this World Cup for 3 weeks. It's over for the U.S. I hope that some people appreciated the game, because good soccer is fun to watch,
Right.
But is the U.S. ever going to win? I don't see a path right now.
This was their shot. They
Yeah,
had
you know what? I would say this was
easy
their best
bracket.
shot compared to past World Cup. And the crazy part is you had two heavyweights on the other side already meeting up, Portugal and Spain.
Yep.
Someone had to lose.
You had to play one team, and it's going to be France. You would have had to beat France to get to the finals. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you would have
No,
had to beat to get to the finals, like legitimately.
Slow your roll.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
They would never beat France. Before I put my bet in last night, before the game, I looked back. So we played the Belgian team back in March and lost 5-2. So in my head, I'm thinking of scenarios in which the U.S. could win. And right at that point, looking at that game, I said, okay, it's done. They're not going to win. I bet Belgium, and I bet over 4.5 goals. And I wanted the U.S. to win. Before I looked and did my research, I actually figured that they would win a game 3-2, and I was hoping for that. But watching them play,
over too.
Yeah, watching them play, they have a lot of work to do. It's a shame, but I do want to get to the corruption of the World Cup. So, all right, we could start with what benefited us, right? The U.S. team. The overturned red card that they took away the suspension. They claimed that they did that to Ronaldo so he could play the first 2 games because he was supposed to have a 2-game suspension. But that was prior to the World Cup and qualifying. Balogun's was the game
During
before.
The World Cup,
yeah. So, and there's no official appeals process. I'll be honest with you, that doesn't bother me so much because I don't think what he did should have been a red card. I get why it's called a red card in that particular play. I get the rule from reading what people say and everything. Don't like it. But, there wasn't a football move and he could have injured the guy. So technically it should be a red card. It should be a rules were followed correctly.
Wouldn't incidental mean a yellow in that? Because he didn't try it, he didn't try it.
The reason it would have been a red card was because there was no play on the ball. If there was a play on the ball, it would have been a yellow. But like I said, the fact that the whole referee thing, and this is what we're going to get into in a second with the game today. So the replay rules are you can't use slow motion replay for red cards. So if you can't do that, why did the replay official call down to the referee and say, go look at it after watching it in slow motion? You can't do that.
And then this felt like the overturn felt like like it was something where they, you know what I mean?
It was an outcry.
Like if you buy from UPS or Amazon or whatever, and then you pay for the expedited shipping, you're like, man, I need that in a day. That's what it felt like with the overturned red card thing. Like, hey, we're going to get that done so that way they can have him for the game. That's what it felt like. Felt like they rushed that whole thing, and that shouldn't have been done like that. And it felt like they just wanted the U.S. to have their guy. That's what it felt like.
And you want to know something? I think it woke up the Belgian people.
I think you're right.
Because they were not playing very good soccer prior to that. But they came out last night and said, we're going to play, and we're going to wipe the floor with you. And
JB,
they did. Go ahead.
A quick question before we get to one goat going home and another goat moving on. Let me ask you a question. Actually, both of you a question, okay? As far as the whole overturned red card and bringing back Balogun to play, if the United States was not a host team, would they have overturned that red card?
Yes, I think so. I think that U.S. finally has some superstars, finally has some cachet. They have it's been a while since they've been this far. I think they're very polarizing, and so I think FIFA saw it as like, hey, this is good for ratings. Like, we want US to continue being in this thing because this is helping ratings. I don't think Belgium helps the ratings. I think US helps it more.
So it was announced today that the US rights for the 2030 and 2034 World Cups are going to be sold to one media company in both English and Spanish together. It's not going to be split up like it was this time, for $1.5 to $2 billion. So most certainly they wanted the US to play their best game and get as far as they could to make that kind of money. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Do I think it should have been overturned? Honestly, because the rules weren't followed, and I think they should have an appeal process put in 4 red cards during the World Cup. The fact that they did it and they overturned it, I don't know. FIFA is weird. They do what they want to do. And
but
it's pretty ugly.
One of us on this panel swears by soccer, swears by it. But then all I've heard from Backwards Hat JB is how corrupt they are. But yeah, you swear by it. So I don't know what you want.
It's like having the worst umpires in baseball every game.
But they're not umpires. They're the ones that literally run the entire thing.
It's very fraudulent, John.
It's like having Goodell's a commissioner.
That's why I can't get into soccer.
Let's talk about today's game real quick. We're going to talk about Messi.
Oh boy, man!
So, what a game! Egypt. They are in betting terms, John. Like betting on, the plus 5,000 team to win. They have no shot. They go up 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, Argentina started to make a move. They score. There was a couple of controversial plays, and let me see. First thing, their best player, Mo Salah, plays in the Premier League. He's phenomenal. In the box, gets what I think is a clear penalty. They don't call it. Okay. That's subjective, and they could have reviewed it, and they probably would have called a penalty. But Egypt gets a breakaway. They're up 2-1 at this point. They get a breakaway, John, and literally it would be like a full court fast break, which doesn't happen in soccer.
It'd be like a breakaway in hockey.
Yeah, breakaway.
No, I would talk it more like basketball, John, because they literally went from the end line all the way to the goal, which is very rare in soccer.
Yeah. I played FIFA on the PlayStation. I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So the dude went down. I don't know who scored the goal. It wasn't Salah, right? They went and did a replay review because one of the Argentinian people, the defenders, went down at the beginning of the play all the way back by the end line. They waited as the dude went all the way down the pitch, scored the goal, celebrated. Then they went to the review to call a foul. I mean, come on. How could you be seriously doing that?
Well, I mean, that would be like in hockey, JB. Like if there's a penalty on a team and they touch the puck, that the play's over in hockey.
It's a dead ball.
If the Hurricanes have the puck and one of their guys trips the other dude, the play's over because they touched the puck.
Right.
But or if a team trips the Hurricanes and the Hurricanes have the puck, play continues. But if the other team touches it, it's over. Well, that would be like if Egypt touched the ball, they committed the penalty, and they have the ball, they should have killed it dead because, they committed the penalty. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. You should have killed the play.
Wasn't really a penalty, John. It was
I know. I'm just saying.
It was only a penalty because Egypt scored what would have been the knockout goal because there was no way.
Yeah. It's like playing the Patriots when they had Brady or playing Mahomes now.
The tuck rule. Yeah, the tuck rule.
You always know that there's a magical hold or a magical pass interference if they don't complete that 4th and 10 that they needed to win the game or keep the game alive. Oh, magic, Mahomes, they breathed on Mahomes. Oh, 15-yard penalty, game's still happening. Like, it's coming every time.
And I don't I don't hold it against Messi. It's not his fault. He's not, going up to the ref and complaining and getting the calls. It's not like that. It's the actual FIFA administration that's doing this. And, it's not the first time that the last round when they played Cabo Verde, and it was a 2-2 game, right, going into extra time. I was on the phone with Brian, and I said, it's been a great game. I don't think they're going to win. I said, but I just don't want the refs to take the game from them. They've had a great tournament. If Cabo Verde loses, it's all good. Just let it be a fair lose. Let them get beat because something happened. And it ended up happening. They lost 3-2. It was a great ending, but it was legitimate. This game today, if you're the Egyptians, you've got to be feeling sick. They got screwed. It was horrible. And you between the price of the tickets, what they're getting for people to watch the games, you're just changing rules on the fly. You're not calling games fairly. It's insane. It's not the way it should be.
It's been the only pretty much the only criticism of the World Cup is like, man, these are because I don't know how many. That there's actually been 31 goals. I think it's like a World Cup record. 31 goals scored in the 90th minute or later. Also, today marked the first time, I believe, in World Cup history that a team came back from a 2-goal deficit from the 75th minute on. The comeback started at the 79th minute. But this refereeing, and mind you, I'm still kind of, like learning what an offside is and whatnot.
Oh, offside's the worst. It's the worst.
Now that one they could afford to get. Dude, we're talking about an area the size of a football field, and offsides is like that much. Like, are you serious? But I don't know, man. The referees, they have been kind of questionable. It's been an enjoyable World Cup. I just wish they would just let these boys play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get the reason for the offside rule. I just don't think it's meant to be called the way that they're calling it by a fraction of an inch. It's meant when it's blatantly offsides to be called, and
not like incidentally.
It's like getting pulled over for going 2 over the speed limit by a cop. Like, man, that's not what the speed limit's for. It's for like if somebody's going like 10, 15 miles over, not
excessive
2 miles
speeding,
an hour.
yeah.
You don't pull somebody over for going 2 miles over the speed limit. You just don't do it.
What in the world? Did he mute himself? Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Do you hear me, guys?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
I said it's like going 2 over the speed limit.
Yeah.
You don't get pulled over by a cop for going 2 over the speed limit.
No, it's just the whole has been pretty much done this way, and that's, I think, my biggest problem. It's not just the World Cup. It happens in Champions League. It happens in the other leagues. It just really sucks that they ruin what I think is a really great game.
Bring back the NFL. We're almost at training camp, JB. The real sports start soon.
Couple more weeks. All right. So, I mean, we've used almost our whole hour because we had Jonathan Coleman out of Lemoyne College entering the MLB draft next weekend. That kid's going to be special. Follow along. See who drafts him. If he doesn't get drafted, that doesn't mean he's not going to make it. The MLB has plenty of guys that were undrafted that get to the big leagues. One of the few leagues that's not uncommon. We appreciate him coming on. I know he's got to be busy getting ready for the draft. We talked about Sean Payton. So let's never talk about him again.
And my video game that ChatGPT is going to create for me in the next week, where all 4 sports combine into one beautiful sports sheer ball.
In the
Dude,
Thunderdome.
this is. I got a feeling it's going to be something like Mutant League. Remember Mutant League back in the day?
Mutant League hockey. Or Mutant League football.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's on Sega. It was great.
Oh, it was awesome. It even spawned a TV show, Mutant League Football.
Did it really? I never saw it.
Yeah, you should go look it up. It actually was pretty nice. JB, we can't hear you.
This is the most beautiful sound he's ever made.
JB, we can't hear you.
You hearing me now?
Yep, we hear you now.
Unfortunately.
All right. So we're going to go watch some more FIFA. We're going to replay the games for today because we spoke about it so much. We're going to tie John down and make him watch soccer. But we'll see you. Are we doing a show next week, John? I know we had said we were thinking about taking a week off.
Tune in. Make sure you check out the Sideline Sports Entertainment YouTube channel. We'll just keep checking it out. You'll see. We'll see you next week.
You never know. If we're not here, go to the website, sideline-se.com. Sideline-se.com. Lots of great articles there. Subscribe to the YouTube. If you're on my LinkedIn or X, you can comment. It's all good. If not, we'll see you soon. Till then, we're out of here.
That was weird.